calls Isaiah Perkins.
Raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that evidence you're about to give the court in this case be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Get you to state your name and then spell your last name for the court.
Isaiah Perkins, last name is Perkins.
Officer Perkins, where do you work?
I work for the Horry County Police Department.
How long have you worked there?
6 years.
What's your current assignment at Horry County PD?
I am a patrol supervisor.
What are some of your duties and responsibilities as a patrol supervisor?
I oversee the officers patrolling the precinct I'm assigned to, making sure they're doing their jobs correctly.
How long have you had that position?
2 years.
Let's turn your attention back to October 2020. What was your position back in October 2020?
I was a patrol officer in the South Precinct.
And what area does the South Precinct cover?
It covers Highway 501 south to the Georgetown County line.
What were some of your duties and responsibilities back then?
To patrol the area and respond to calls for service that were called in during my shift.
Was one of your duties back then to perform what's called a welfare check?
Yes, ma'am.
So tell me, what is a welfare check?
A welfare check is when someone, say like a family member or a friend, hasn't spoken to someone for an extended period of time or had a concern about their welfare. They would call us to go out and make sure they're okay.
So when you went out to make sure they were okay, kind of tell me what you would do, how you would do the welfare check.
So I respond out there. I would try knocking on the door, making contact with the person. If I don't make contact with that person, I usually call all the local hospitals and check the jails to make sure they're not actually missing or need help immediately.
Okay. Were you assigned to perform a welfare check for the victim, in this case, Gregory Rice?
I was.
Can you tell me what address you responded to?
I'm not quite sure on the exact address, but it was the Flint Lake apartment complex off of Clay Pond Road.
Okay. And did that call, how did you get that call?
It was given to me by the dispatcher.
Did any other officers respond with you?
No, ma'am.
Okay. What did you do upon arrival at that Flint Lake apartment address?
When I got there, I witnessed the defendant standing outside the unit door. She told me kind of what was going on with the situation. She had dropped something off a couple of days ago prior to, and those items were still there. So she had called in a welfare check for us to check on them.
Okay. Were you familiar with Meagan Jackson before you performed the well check there that day?
I was.
But how did you know her?
She was a transporter for the coroner's office. I often saw her on calls where someone was deceased and she would come and take possession of the body.
Did you also know Christopher Dontel?
I did.
Did you ever see Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontel together?
Often.
Was that unusual?
It was not.
What did you do to try to locate Greg Rice that day?
So that day, we actually got a hold of the property manager who had a key for the apartment. So we checked the apartment to make sure he wasn't in there. Seeing his wallet, phone, car keys in the unit at the front door, I checked local hospitals and the jails to make sure he wasn't there.
Did you actually go in the apartment personally that day?
I did not.
Did Meagan Jackson go in the apartment?
She did.
Was Greg Rice at that apartment?
He was not.
What did you do after the welfare check was over?
While walking back to my car, I had asked the defendant if she wanted me to do a report for him being a missing person. And she expressed she didn't need to at the time.
Okay, no further questions for this witness.
Cross-examination.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, officer. When you were out there at Flint Lake Apartments, did anybody approach you about having heard gunshots the night before?
No, sir.
Was it, no, sir?
No.
Okay. When you were out at Flint Lake Apartments, did you happen to see any bloodstains on any sidewalk or any area around the apartment?
No, sir.
How about you step on any shell casings from a bullet?
No, sir.
Didn't identify any shell casings, and there was no witness to come forward and tell you they heard gunshots the night before?
No, sir.
Meagan Jackson was there,
She was.
and she was, I think you understood, she was part of making the call to have someone come check on Mr. Rice. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Was there anything else that you observed from any witness on the scene other than Meagan Jackson? Were there any other witnesses there?
Not that I can remember off the top of my head.
Okay.
Yeah.
And no, so nobody after, we're within 24 hours of an alleged 5 or 6 gunshots, is that correct? That's your understanding?
I don't-
Objection on our basis of knowledge.
Okay.
All right, suspending.
That's fine. It's your understanding that the murder they're claiming occurred at Flint Lake Apartments on October 2nd. Is that your understanding, officer?
From that day,
Okay.
I wasn't aware that there was any.
Not that day, as we see here today, you understand that they're trying to accuse my client of murdering Gregory Rice at Flint Lake Apartments on October 2nd.
I'm familiar with the charge. I'm not familiar with the case.
Okay.
I haven't looked at
Your
it.
role was specific to
Just the welfare check.
just the welfare check.
Mhm.
Okay. And so I guess I'll ask you this. Let's assume that's true. Nobody approached you to say they heard gunshots the night before.
No, sir.
Nobody was standing around outside their apartment, waving their arms up and down, trying to report having seen, witnessed, or heard a crime from the night before.
No, sir.
How long were you out there about at the apartment?
I'd say approximately 20 to 30 minutes.
Okay. All right. Did you think it was adequate time? Did you see anyone else, any other neighbors out there while you were there? Do you recall?
Yeah, when police officers are in the neighborhood, a lot of people come out just to be nosy, but I did see a lot of neighbors. No one approached me to say anything.
To report anything unusual?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
We go ahead.
No, sir, Your Honor.
All right, you may step in.
We'd ask this witness to be excused from this opinion.
Any objection? No objection. All right, he's free to go.
Your Honor,
Yes.
State calls Jeff Helfenstine.
Please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give the court in this case will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you. Get you to state your name and spell your last name for the court.
Jeffrey Helfenstine, Helfenstine.
Mr. Helfenstein, do you work currently?
No, ma'am, I'm retired.
Where did you retire from?
Horry County Police Department.
How long were you with the Horry County Police Department?
14, almost 15 years.
And prior to joining the Horry County Police Department, did you have any other experience in law enforcement?
Yes.
What was that?
I worked with the city of Myrtle Beach for approximately 8.5 years.
What about military experience?
I did an Air Force career. I was an 18-year veteran.
18 years. What was the last position you held at the Horry County Police Department?
I was the desk officer at the Central Precinct at M.L. Brown Building in Conway.
What were some of your duties and responsibilities as a desk officer at the M.L. Brown Building?
Answered phone calls, took reports from citizens that walked in with problems that they needed a police report taken care of, and just general administrative type duties.
And when you say the M.L. Brown Building, what is that building?
I'm sorry?
What is the M.L. Brown Building?
M.L. Brown Building is the Central Precinct. It's the main precinct in the headquarters building for the county police.
Thank you. Were you working back on October 5th, 2020?
I was.
Did you come in contact with a woman named Meagan Jackson that day?
I did.
How did that come about?
She came in to report a missing person.
Who did she report missing?
A gentleman by the name of Gregory Rice. She identified him as the father of her children.
Did she tell you when she last saw Gregory Rice?
I believe she spoke to him, if I'm not mistaken, by phone approximately 2 days before she came in, maybe 3.
And I may have asked you that. This was October 5th, 2020. Is that the date?
October 5th was when she came in, and I believe she said it was October 2nd at night when she spoke to him last on the phone.
Okay. What was Meagan Jackson's demeanor like when she reported Gregory Rice missing that day?
Quite frankly, pretty
Judge, Your
unremarkable.
Honor, he can't possibly know what she's feeling.
She just said what was the demeanor. He can testify as to what he personally observed.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You answer that.
Demeanor-wise, it was pretty unremarkable. There was no major emotions, enough that I would have listed it in the report had there been something to list.
Okay. What did you do as a result of your meeting with Meagan Jackson that day?
I wrote the report, entered it NCIC as a missing person, not in danger.
What do you mean by NCIC? What is that?
NCIC is the National Crime Information Center, where stolen cars, missing persons, and so forth get entered once they're reported to the police. And that way, if the person's found, say in Los Angeles, they'll notify us that they found them and they're okay.
And does that conclude your involvement in this case?
That concludes my involvement, yes, ma'am.
No further questions for this witness, Your Honor.
Cross-examination.
Thank you, Your Honor. Officer, you said you retired. Thank you for your service, of course. You said she came in, had no real noticeable emotion. Is that correct?
Nothing that was worth annotating.
Marking down like shock, maybe, kind of, nothing annotating. So no emotion relays. Are we trying to say that no emotion relays something?
What I'm saying is there was nothing displayed to me that I felt worthy of putting in the report.
Okay. So there's nothing remarkable then.
Exactly.
You just a person came in and filed a missing person report, just like they're supposed to do if a person goes missing.
Exactly.
Did you see Meagan Jackson shoot Greg Rice?
No.
Did you see Chris Dontel shoot Greg Rice?
No.
No further questions.
Redirect.
No, sir, Your Honor. We ask that this witness be released from his subpoena.
Any objection? Mr. Moore, all right, you may step down. You're free to go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. State your title, please.
Your Honor, the state calls Corporal Paul Johnson. And Your Honor, while we're waiting for Corporal Johnson to come in, I previously showed states exhibits 1, 2, 3, and 4 to the defense, and I believe they are admitted without objection.
All right, any objection to state's exhibits 1, 2, 3, or 4?
No, sir, Your Honor.
All right, state's exhibits 1, 2, 3, and 4 admitted into evidence without objection.
Please raise your right hand and place your left hand on the Bible. Do you solemnly swear or affirm the evidence you're about to give the court in this case to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. Could you just state your name and spell your last name for the court?
Paul Johnson, Johnsson.
And Corporal Johnson, I'm just going to ask you to turn your report over. If you need to look at it to refresh your recollection, we'll cross
you.
that bridge. Can you tell the ladies and gentlemen of the jury where you work?
Horry County Police Department,
And how long have you worked there?
a little over 18 years.
What is your current position with the Horry County Police?
I'm a detective with the Horry County Police Department assigned to the property division of CID.
So what are some of your duties and responsibilities in that position?
In this position, we investigate property crimes such as burglaries, larcenies, bank fraud, check fraud, forgeries, stuff of that nature.
How long have you had that position?
Just a few weeks.
Okay. What were you doing before that?
Before that, I have worked in CID before, investigating child crimes, sexual assaults, and also been a supervisor of environmental services in the past.
So let's talk about October of 2020. Which of your many positions were you in at that point?
I was assigned to Investigations Division, Special Victims Unit.
Is that what you were describing about crimes against children or sexual assaults, et cetera?
Yes, ma'am.
Would missing persons also fall under special victims?
Yes, ma'am.
So what were some of your duties and responsibilities in that position?
Missing persons, child assaults, some cold cases, mainly sexual assaults.
But what would you actually do?
In missing person cases, they would assign a case. You would make sure to patrol, enter the person in CIC, then you would go from there.
Sort of generally speaking, as a detective, would your daily tasks include, say, interviewing people, search warrants, things of that sort?
Yes, ma'am.
In October of 2020, did you become familiar with the missing persons case where the victim was Gregory Rice?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Do you know, were you assigned as the original lead investigator?
No, ma'am, I was not. I was Assistant Detective Susie.
Detective Susie?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, is there, you said you follow some sort of procedure, you make sure patrol has entered the person in NCIC. What other types of things would you normally do for a missing person?
In the beginning stages, you would also send out a department email in reference to the missing person with a photo. You would also contact the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division. They would do a poster on their Fusion Division, sent out statewide as a missing person.
I'm going to show you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 4. Is that the flyer that was prepared and sent out?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Your Honor, I would ask to publish this to the jury.
All right.
As part of this initial protocol, would you try to get the missing person's cell phone records or bank records or anything like that? How would you attempt to locate them?
Well, we would go out to their residence, make sure they are not home. If we still can't find them, we talk to family. And if we can't get a hold of any family, sometimes we'll do a search warrant at their residence and try to locate any cell phones, any kind of bank information to track them, stuff like that.
In this case, were you able to speak with the defendant, Meagan Jackson?
We were.
And what, if anything, did she tell you at that point?
Myself and Detective Susie interviewed Meagan at the police department. She stated she had dinner on Friday evening with the coroner. She then stated on Saturday that she went to the house. The victim was not there. She stated that she got a call for work and had to leave. She came back to the house. He still wasn't there, and that's where she contacted Dory County Police for a welfare check.
Based on that initial conversation with the defendant, did you and Detective Susie or other investigators get a search warrant for the victim's apartment?
We did.
Did you also get a search warrant for the phone records? And then I'll go back to the apartment.
I believe we did.
Okay. So let's start with the search warrant for the victim's apartment. Why would that be an investigative step that you would take?
Because we couldn't locate them. Sometimes inside people's residence, they keep bank records, debit cards, phone records, see what's in their vehicle, who they might have left with, phone records, just to try to figure out their last step before they went missing.
Did you, in fact, search the victim's apartment on October 5th, the same day you spoke with the defendant?
We did.
Did anyone assist you with that search?
Detective Susie and Sergeant Jim Chatfield.
At that point, did you have crime scene with you?
We did not.
And why not?
At that point, there was no reason to have crime scene. There was nothing out of the ordinary while we were searching that we would need crime scene for.
How did you get into the apartment?
Maintenance. The maintenance gentleman helped us in.
Can you give us just a very general description of the apartment?
It's a basic apartment complex. I mean, nothing. I do front porch, you know.
So it was a first floor unit?
Yes, ma'am.
How many
I believe so.
bedrooms?
I think there was 2. Not 100% sure. I believe there was 2.
Was there anything, did anything stand out to you during that search?
Nothing out of ordinary. A common apartment where someone would live.
Did you see any evidence of illegal drug use?
I did not.
And what types of things would you expect to see if someone was an illegal drug user?
Empty plastic baggies, empty pill bottles, spoons, lighters, stuff like that. We didn't witness any of that.
Okay. Did you, in fact, seize anything from the victim's apartment?
We did. We located the victim's wallet in his bedroom, on his dresser, as well as a folder containing bank information, and we located his keys. They were in between the cushions of a chair on the front porch.
So his keys were in between the cushions on an outside chair?
Yes, ma'am.
And now I'm I'll approach first with exhibits 1 and 2. Do you recognize those items?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, start with exhibit 1. What is exhibit 1?
Brown, dark brown wallet.
And what's exhibit 2?
South Carolina driver's license belonging to Greg Rice.
And was this driver's license in the wallet when you originally found it?
I believe so.
Is that how you, and just make sure you're talking into the microphone, is that how you were able to identify this as the victim's wallet?
Yes, ma'am.
And then showing you exhibit 3, what do you recognize that to be?
Car keys and miscellaneous keys, keychains.
And is this the set of keys that you found stuffed between the cushions on that outside chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Did you find that usual or unusual that the keys were in a cushion, stuffed between the cushions in the outside chair?
Unusual?
I can't ask you a leading question, so I'm saying, was it usual or unusual?
I don't keep my keys there, but I mean, if someone was sitting there, they could have fell out of a pocket, I guess.
Did you locate the victim's car?
We did.
Was there anything suspicious about the car?
No, ma'am.
Did you, sorry, I haven't even asked your question yet, so. Did you speak with the defendant again that day?
Overruled. Go ahead.
Or did you speak with the victim that day? Excuse me, sorry about that. With the defendant that day, you obviously didn't speak with the victim.
Yes, ma'am, we did at the M.R. Brown Police Department.
Were you familiar with the defendant prior to this interview?
I knew where she worked. I'm not sure if I'd ever had any dealings with her or not.
She was familiar to you?
Her job was familiar. I don't know if I'd ever actually been on a scene with her, but I knew where she worked.
Okay. At that point in the investigation, was the defendant a suspect?
She was not.
You mentioned when you first spoke with her, she said she had dinner. Who did you say she had dinner with?
Initially, she told us in the interview that she had dinner with the coroner.
What did you think about that?
I thought it was odd that she didn't say the name.
Can you describe her demeanor during your interview?
Pretty calm, in my opinion. Not too nervous. Not nervous as other people have been during interviews like that.
Your Honor,
not
I
worried.
understand that he is speaking to demeanor, but what is calm to me is very different than calm to him.
Overruled. I'll allow it.
I'm sorry, so her demeanor seemed more calm than other people in a similar situation?
Just not worried would be my opinion.
Nothing further at this time. We could just answer any questions from Mr. Preston.
All right, cross-examination.
Yes, sir. Remind me what day you were out there?
October 2nd, I believe. October 5th. Remember the exact date.
October 2nd or 5th.
You mind if I look at my notes?
You brought some notes with you? Yeah, go ahead, take a look at it.
I believe it was October 5th.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. How long were you out there?
Out at the police department or the
Out in the apartments.
apartments? No idea really. I mean,
Okay.
30 minutes, maybe an hour total. I'm not sure. It's been so long ago.
Okay. You don't remember that part? Okay. You don't remember how long you were walking around the apartments? You went inside, located items. Is that right?
Did we locate some items? Yes, sir, we did.
And you located an item. You did enough of a search to locate an item on the front porch, right?
We did.
Okay. Now, during your search around out there, 3 days after this alleged murder, did we see any bloodstains out there near the apartment?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking you, yes, sir.
You asking me if I saw any blood stains the day I was there?
Yes, sir. The day you were there on October 5th, 3 days after this death.
I did not see any blood stains when I was there, no, sir.
Okay. And you're an officer, detective. You saw those. That's something you'd make a note of, right?
If I saw blood stains?
Yes, sir.
I didn't see any blood stains.
Okay, listen. While you were there, did any neighbor run up to you and tell you about the gunshots they heard 3 nights ago?
I don't recall anybody telling me about gunshots.
Okay. All right. While y'all were searching around, did you come across any bullet casings, shell casings?
I did not find any shell casings, no, sir.
Okay. All right. Did you know Mr. Chris Dontel?
Did I know Chris Dontel?
Did you know Chris Dontel?
I knew Chris where he worked, yes, sir. Not a lot of dealings with him, but I knew where he worked.
Okay. And where did he work?
The coroner's office, Horry County Coroner's office.
Okay. Chief, mind just beg your indulgence for 1 second? Anything you want to let me ask? Those are all the questions I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Your Honor, very briefly. When you went out to Flint Lake Apartments, did you confine your search to the victim's apartment and car, or did you walk the whole complex?
Car in his apartment.
Nothing further.
All right, you may step down.
And Your Honor, I would ask that he be released from his subpoena.
Meagan Jackson.
I'm not gonna hold on this one, Your Honor.
All right, I'll allow him to leave, but he's still subject to subpoena to come back.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you, thank you, Your Honor.
State can call you next witness.
Your Honor, at this time, I would read 2 stipulations into the record. And there is evidence that would be admitted along with these. I can just have one moment. Your Honor, there has been an agreement by and between the parties that if David Tennant were to testify during trial, he would testify that he is a manager at Abuelo's restaurant located at 710 Coastal Grand Circle in the Myrtle Beach section of Horry County, and that he was in that position in October of 2020. He would further testify that during October of 2020, Abuelo's had video surveillance inside of the restaurant. He is familiar with that surveillance system, and that while the date stamp on the surveillance was correct, the time was off by approximately 35 minutes. He would further testify that in October of 2020, members of the Horry County Police Department requested copies of the video surveillance footage from the evening of October 2nd, 2020. He provided them with a copy of the footage, a copy of which is contained on State's Exhibit 14. The video footage was not altered in any way. He reviewed that exhibit and did initial it as a copy of the surveillance video that was provided, and that was signed by myself and Mr. Pace-Britton. So I would ask that Exhibit 14 be admitted.
All right, is that stipulation?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Not to the admission, you still got to prove a chain of where that happens.
But the stipulation.
This stipulation is accurate, Your Honor.
Well, Your Honor, I'm just asking for clarification. If this is a true and correct copy of the video that was provided, I believe we've established the chain.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is a stipulation as read to the court by Ms. Walter. Now, the parties have stipulated to that fact. So that is not a factual determination that you will need to make. They both agree that is a fact, as in this case, that's what she read. All right, she's tendered State's Exhibit 14 into evidence. Any objection?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right, State's Exhibit 14 is admitted into evidence without objection.
Thank you, Your Honor. Next, there has been a stipulation, an agreement by and between the parties that if Hal Prickett were to testify during the trial, he would testify that he is the owner of Just Ask Hal, located at 201 Fresh Drive, Suite D in the Lowe's Food Shopping Center in the Myrtle Beach section of Horry County, and that he was the owner in 2020. He would further testify that during October 2020, Just Ask Hal had video surveillance covering the exterior of both the front and back of the store, and he is familiar with that surveillance system. He would further testify that in October 2020, members of the Horry County Police Department requested copies of the video surveillance footage from the evening of October 2nd, 2020 into the morning hours of October 3rd of 2020. He provided them with a copy of that footage, a copy of which is contained in State's Exhibit 21. He would testify that while the date stamp on the surveillance was accurate, the time stamp on the footage was approximately 10 minutes off from real time. The video footage was not altered in any way. He has reviewed that exhibit and signed it to indicate it is a true and accurate copy of the surveillance video he provided. Again, that was signed by myself and Mr. Pace-Britton.
All right, is that a stipulation? Is the defense agree?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
All right.
And I would ask to admit State's Exhibit 21.
All right, any objections? State's Exhibit 21.
No, sir, Your Honor.
All right, so stipulated, State's Exhibit 21 is admitted into evidence.
Your Honor, may we approach just about scheduling?
All right.
we're moving well ahead of schedule, so I will, with the court's indulgence, read our remaining stipulations. Your Honor, there's been agreement going between the parties that if Mark Amos were to testify during trial, he would testify that he is a senior special agent at the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division, commonly known as SLED. He would further testify he has been the Automated License Plate Reader, ALPR, coordinator for SLED since 2018, and that in that capacity he is a custodian of records for still photos taken by ALPRs in Horry County. He would further testify that he has reviewed the relevant stills contained in State's Exhibits 23 and including 34, through and including 34, and that they are true and correct copies of records maintained by SLED. And that is a stipulation signed by myself and Mr. Case Friend.
All right, Mr. Britton, that's.
Your Honor, again, let's re-ask. These stipulate to the fact that they are real and authentic, not to what they actually are evidence of. If
Are you what she read?
yes, sir, that is fine.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Thank
So
you.
that's stipulated.
Thank you.
All right.
So then my confusion comes from if they are stipulating that Senior Agent Amos is a custodian of records for SLED and State's Exhibits 23 through and including 34 are true and accurate records kept by SLED for which he is the custodian, what is the objection to their admission?
They're saying that they agree to your stipulation and qualifications. They're just contesting that that exhibit shows what the state is saying it shows.
But that's what,
Yes,
but that's what the stipulation is. The stipulation is that Sergeant Amos would say that these are true and accurate stills from the LPRs, that he is a custodian of records, and that he has verified that these are all true and accurate copies of LPR stills.
And Your Honor, I stipulate to that part, but I don't stipulate to anything else beyond that. I don't stipulate to what she intends to use them for. I don't stipulate to anything. I stipulate to the fact that they are a real and accurate representation of Mr. Amos.
Which means that they're admissible.
And I'm not saying that
We're
they're
not
not.
getting into the
Yes, sir.
admissibility of
Yes, sir.
it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
You haven't even tendered them into evidence yet.
I just did, and the issue is,
I don't read back. Where did she say, I wish to introduce State's Exhibits 23 through 34 into evidence? I'll get the court reporter. If I missed it, I'm sorry, and I apologize, but I don't recall you ever saying that.
if I misspoke, I apologize, but that's why I have them listed in the stipulation.
Your Honor. Yes, sir.
Hold for a second.
Yes, sir.
Court reporter, check.
And that is a stipulation signed by myself, Mr. Baser, ours in Horry County. He would further testify that he has reviewed the relevant stills contained in State's Exhibits 23 and including 34, through and including the report, and that they are true and correct copies of records maintained by SLED. And that is a stipulation signed by myself, Mr. Baser.
All right, Mr. President, is that stipulation?
That's fine.
Okay.
I don't see where you've ever said.
Then I apologize, Your Honor. I am following the same thing for all of the stipulations. I would ask that States Exhibits 23 through 34, which the defense has stipulated are true and accurate copies of records kept by SLED that have been verified by a custodian of records at SLED, be admitted into evidence.
All right, any objection?
Your Honor, I understand that they have to be, the expertise to be qualified, but I stipulate to the fact that they are accurate and real representations. And Mr. Amos signed off on it, but I don't stipulate to what they go to be introduced for.
All right, States Exhibits 23 through 34 admitted into evidence on the defendant's appeal.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right,
No, I apologize for misspeaking. No, I apologize. You're absolutely right, Your Honor.
Into evidence. All right.
Absolutely. Where's the evidence for this moment? Your Honor, I'll have fresh copies of those printed. Let me see if I can. Thank you, Your Honor. There has been an agreement by and between the parties that if Brian Stewart were to testify during trial, he would testify that he is familiar with the River's Edge community in the Conway section of Horry County and that he has lived there for approximately 11 years. He would further testify that he was the president of the Homeowners Association for 3 years, including during 2020. He is aware of and familiar with the two exits to the community located along Highway 90, as well as the surveillance system that covers each entrance and exit. He would further testify that in October of 2020, members of the Horry County Police Department requested that he search the surveillance video footage looking for the vehicles they described as being driven by Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontel. He provided that surveillance footage to the Horry County Police Department without editing it. That footage is contained in States Exhibits 118 and 119, and that footage has not been altered in any way. That stipulation was signed by myself and Case Britton on May 29th.
All right. Britton, is that the stipulation?
Again, Your Honor, just stipulate to the fact that it's a real and accurate representation. I do not stipulate to the fact of what she intends to use it for. Having said that, Your Honor, I understand that the witnesses and we'll go through that.
At this time,
Go ahead.
at this time, Your Honor, the state would ask that 118 and 119 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No further, Your Honor. Yes, sir.
You said yes.
Oh, I'm sorry. I understand the ruling from earlier, Your Honor. No objection.
All right, State's Exhibits 118, 119 are admitted into evidence without objection.
Your Honor, there's been an agreement by and between the parties that if David Owens were to testify during trial, he would testify that during October 2020, he was employed by the PD Exchange gas station convenience store located on Highway 378 and PD Highway in Horry County near the Marion County border. He would testify that during October of 2020, PD Exchange had a number of surveillance cameras on the exterior of the property. He was familiar with that surveillance system, that he was asked by the Horry County Police Department for copies of the video surveillance footage from the evening of October 3rd into the morning of October 4th. He provided them with a copy of that footage, a copy of which is contained on State's Exhibit 64. The video footage has not been altered in any way.
All right, is that a stipulation between the state and the defense?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
At this time, the state would ask that Exhibit 64 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No, sir, Your Honor.
State's Exhibit 64 is admitted into evidence without objection.
Lastly, Your Honor, there has been an agreement by and between the parties that if Tom Buchanan were to testify during trial, he would testify that he is a Lance Corporal with the South Carolina Department of Natural Resources, commonly known as DNR. He would further testify he has been with DNR for approximately 8 years, and in that capacity, he installed a game camera at the entrance to the Lewis Ocean Bay Heritage Preserve, the preserve for short, located off International Drive in Horry County on September 21st, 2020. He did so because there were several instances of vandalism at that location. Sometime after October 3rd, 2020, he was asked to review still photos captured by that camera for anything that might be relevant to the murder of Greg Rice. He would testify that he saw Meagan Jackson and Christopher Dontel, both of whom he knew in a professional capacity, driving their respective vehicles into and out of the preserve on September 29th, September 30th, and October 2nd of 2020. He has reviewed still photos capturing those visits, identified as State's Exhibits 35 through 47, and attests that they are true and accurate copies of the photos from the game camera. Each photo bears his signature. That is a stipulation signed by myself and Case Britton on May 29th.
All right, does the defendant stipulate to that?
Again, Your Honor, yes, sir.
We would ask, the state would now ask that State's Exhibits 35 through 47 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
Again, Your Honor. No problem. Thank you.
All right, State's Exhibits 35 through 47 admitted into evidence without objection.
Thank you. Your Honor, if I can just check on my next witness. Okay. Your Honor, the next witness is walking over. He should be here any minute.
All right. We want to take a break or?
I would leave that to Your Honor. We have, do you want me to approach about scheduling or do you want?
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got some scheduling we need to prepare for the next witness, so we're going to go ahead and break for lunch. We have lunch coming for you, but it's not here yet, but it should be here shortly. Leave your notepads in the jury box. Do not discuss the case, even among yourselves. It's too early for deliberations. We'll be taking probably at least an hour. I'll give you plenty of time to eat, so don't feel rushed when it gets here. So whatever time you need to eat, we'll provide that to you. But don't discuss the case, don't conduct any independent investigations, leave your notepads in the jury box, and we'll bring you back as soon as we're done.